required. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady for Virginia, Ms. McClellan, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member Lawfront, and I want to thank Dr. Panchanathan and Dr. Reed for being two of the most enthusiastic witnesses I've seen since I've been in Congress. Dr. Panchanathan, I was glad you had the opportunity to visit the 4th District of Virginia and see some of the groundbreaking work that we are doing, and was very pleased that Virginia State University in my district has received funding through the Historically Black Colleges and Universities Excellence in Research program. They're doing great things with that. I also represent Virginia Commonwealth University, where the Medicines for All Institute has received NSF funding to integrate multiple disciplines, including chemistry, engineering, and pharmaceutical sciences, to address the drug product development and manufacturing needs. And I wonder, Dr. Panchanathan, could you speak to how the NSF budget supports onshoring the full pharmaceutical supply chain for the benefit of our national security, public health preparedness, and environment?
Thank you so much, Representative McClellan. It's truly a delight to be here with my friend, partner, and a colleague working together. That's why you see the excitement. We work together very well. So to your questions, before I go to your question, it was truly a delight visiting Virginia Commonwealth University. You know what the highlight of my trip was? Franklin Military Academy.
Oh, great.
And I saw these unbelievable students in high school doing these amazing projects. And when I talked about STEM inspiration earlier, they are all inspired. And that's the kind of inspiration we want spread everywhere across our nation. We are thrilled to invest in Virginia State University as well as VCU. And to your question on onshoring, biotechnology is a significant focus area for us, because we believe that emerging technology, we need to make sure that we are seizing the opportunity to be in the vanguard of innovation. So in fact, we're investing in biofoundries through the TIP Directorate, so that it is all across our nation. And biomanufacturing is something that we need to make sure that it is in place. And in places where we have the convergence of the ideas, the buildup of the technology, and how do we then scale the technology, all of them coexisting together in these regions. And RIEs is focused on, regional innovation engines are focused on that kind of an approach.
Great. We know graduate students are often full-time researchers with additional responsibilities, but are paid very little, and many of those graduate students are from lower income families. Can you talk about what NSF is doing to address the financial instability faced by so many of our graduate students?
Yeah. It's a very, very good question. So as you know, NSF does two kinds of investments. Many kinds of investments, and these two on the graduate front broadly categorized. One is what NSF invests directly, called the Graduate Research Fellowship Program, which is a very prestigious fellowship program. Now, we invest about $2,000 to $2,500. In the 24 budget, we have asked for that increase in the number, because there are so many applicants, well-deserved in terms of getting those investments. Since I became director, we have increased the investments from what used to be $34,000 to $37,000 now. And we're also, the tuition remission that we provide, which was $12,000, is now $16,000. So we're keeping pace with what is happening in terms of inflation, as well as other kinds of things that we need to make sure that they are paying at least living wages to be able to want to pursue this, because they do pursue this out of the real interest in wanting to contribute to science and technology and engineering and others. And so we are mindful of that. The second path, which is we fund our grants, and the grants then go to the institutions, which then fund the graduate students. So which means that we're encouraging now, as we speak, in terms of what we can do to ask our institutions to submit whatever is the true cost for a graduate student. And that if that means that the grant size has to increase, we should make that happen. Whatever is the size of the grant, we should be paying the graduate students, because we cannot risk losing good graduate students because they found that they're already taking a huge pay cut to do the graduate program. We don't want them to sacrifice where they can't even have a living wage. And so we are taking that very seriously and working on both fronts. And the board is extremely supportive of this, and in fact has brought us to our attention how important this is, and that is because of Chair Reed, and I will let him speak to that.
Yes, I mean, this has been an all-hands-on-deck conversation among the board. Workforce writ large is our number one issue, but you put your finger on the issue. We're asking the best and brightest in our country to take a vow of poverty to pursue STEM careers. This is not a sustainable operation. We've got to be honest about those true costs. It's a reckoning that has to take place across the country if we want talent to continue. And you also rightly said those costs fall disproportionately on first generation and underrepresented students because they typically start graduate school with higher amounts of debt. They've taken on deferred income in addition to low wages. We have to continue to raise those stipends. It's got to be a national conversation. I have begun some of those conversations with my colleagues across the country, wearing my hat as chair of the board, and I know OSTP and PCAST have also talked about these issues. It's got to be addressed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield back.